Now we're going to interview Miss Havisham. So Miss Havisham, why have you decided to never leave your house?
I have never left my house before because I am so deeply attached to it. Ever since my fiancé, or that hideous man, left me, I've never been able to part with what happened to me. This has caused me to pose a connection to my house and never ever be able to leave it. My house is my life. It is my home. It is my shelter, my fortress. It hides me. No one ever can see me except for those who I allow in. Otherwise, I will never be able to be seen and never able to forget what happened to me. And I can die in this place and finally be dead.
So that was an interesting answer, Miss Havisham. So the next question is, why did you want to raise your own child after your fiancé left you?
This leaving caused me to be so heartbroken, and there was so much sorrow in my soul that I needed a way to vent all this depression. Now, the best way would be to show people exactly how I felt. And in doing so, Estella has been raised to have the exact same qualities as that man Compayson had. Now, because Estella has all these qualities, I can show and set her out into the world, have her wreak havoc in men's lives, and have them feel exactly how I did, and make them feel all the sorrow and suffering as I did, and teach them never to be rude to us again.
Okay, that was an interesting reply. So what was the reason that you made Pumblechook bring Pip to quote-unquote play at the Sadist house?
Well, like I said before, Estella was being raised to wreak havoc on the male population. And I had only one subject to her beauty before, and that was Mr. Herbert Pocket, a very young child who was one of my relatives' children. This didn't work. He had no attraction to her whatever, and then, because I needed someone else, I asked one of my tenants, Pumblechook, to find someone to come over and play. And he came and he brought along a small child called a Peep. Now this child, he was very small. He loved Estella immediately. He was very common and coarse and had thick boots. And because of this, he loved Estella, who was supposed to look a lot higher. And then Pip left, and he came back several other times, and each time he loved her more. And with these passing visits, I saw that Estella was growing more and more to my wishes.
You're quite the evil person, aren't you, Miss Havisham? So the next question is, the last and final question, why haven't you put your past behind you and kept going on in life?
Well, I've never been able to leave my past behind me. There was so much sorrow and horrid, wretched tasks done to me, and I will never be able to forget them. Everything related to that day has been kept and burned into my memory before, and forever, and will never leave me. I will never leave any of these behind, never forget them. So much sorrow has been done to me, and I need to make such a retaliation on them. Nothing has changed since that day. I wear the same clothes, everything has been the same, and I will die amongst it. I will die on my wedding table and be buried and forgotten, along with everything that scarred me. So, our next interviewee is Miss Estella. So, first question. What can you remember about your real parents? And why do you think you were adopted by Miss Havisham?
Well, I can't remember that far back, so I don't even know why you're asking me. Because I was a young little child when I was brought here. And I've forgotten everything about the past, and it's just gone. And I believe I was brought here to live with Miss Havisham because she was a lonely old woman and her fiancé had just left her, so she wanted someone to bring up. I'm not sure why, but I think that's the answer.
What do you believe are your best and worst characteristics?
Well, I believe I have no bad qualities because I am perfect, such as my hair, my nails, my face, the way I dress, my jewelry, my brain. I'm such a smart young lady.
So, final question. Pip has definitely changed since you first met him. And what personality traits do you think have changed with this maturity he's gained?
Pip. Well, when I first saw him at the Sada's house, he was a coarse, dirty little boy with the very thick boots. But as time went on, I saw something in him, and he became a gentleman, and he became less common, and just became someone else. And he is different, in a way, I would say. But Pip has always been so immature throughout his life, and that's about it.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Miss Estella. No, ow! Break. I like the camera phone. Havisham.
You call that a question?
I'm a pretty little flower.
Pretty little flower. Those are times that I can't even remember the times. But I was gonna say.
Our next interview. Were adopted by Miss Havisham.
Well,
Who is calling me now?
you know, it includes me being a little child and remembering my mom and dad.